I just learned an interesting anomaly, and I will call it an anomaly. This is not normal as far as I'm concerned, and yet statistically it is the norm. So here it is. I learned today what the error message in microcap called matrix is singular actually means. It doesn't mean it reached infinite gain and blew itself up as I previously had thought. That only happened because of something else, which is the actual case of what the error message is defining. It's defining that two adjacent nodes have the exact same voltage. Could be, sorry. And so I just got a message, matrix is singular. And it's such an easy solution is to put in resistors and change their value in a significant way with respect to each other. You know, one might be 1e to the 10 and the next one might be 1e to the 20. And in some cases I don't have to do that. I could just put in 1e to the 10 and that's sufficient if it's not a complicated situation. But be that as a complicated relationship among several components instead of just one component doing that in isolation. Be that as it may, what it means is they're fighting free energy. It's a policy decision on their part. It has nothing to do with the appropriate or the correct. There is no correct way to build a circuit. But according to the corporate mentality in today's world, that is the way to make sure that nobody gets away with resonance, which will create overunity. Resonance is when everybody works together in harmony. You know, like a symphony orchestra, everybody keeps to the same beat. Can you imagine people playing their own rhythm? Even in jazz, you're supposed to keep the same beat as all the other players. Even though the beat may not be constant over time, you still have to keep the same beat, and you're allowed a certain amount of wiggle room to vary within the structure of the beat, but you still have to keep within that beat to one degree or another so that you're recognizably playing with other players and not just playing by yourself. Well, matrix is singular actually is encouraging infighting among the components of a circuit so that they fight each other, so that they will require brute force of excessive voltage to make up the difference for the lack of harmony. So all resonance means is harmony. Harmony among the various components of a circuit to work together to achieve a degree of efficiency that most people consider to be fraud and a scam, when in a sense all it is improvement of efficiency. Now we know Tesla was a stickler for efficiency, but I never thought that that could be the way to call it. Instead of calling it overunity or free energy, just efficiency, that's all. And well, efficiency is limited to 100%. I don't think so. That's where they made their boo-boo. But be that as it may, if you reach that pinnacle of success, you are penalized by an error message that literally shuts down the simulator, and you can't go any further. There's no way around it, at least until now. So now I understand what it means as well as how to get around it. You just put in resistors. And funnily enough, putting in resistors of that severity actually boosts the power gain per unit time. So it's to my advantage to circumvent their error message. Ain't that the coolest thing? They're just making it easier for me to achieve overunity, that's all. Because I'm inserting a trivial asymmetry. You know, in a sense, a circuit is asymmetric because it stresses itself by virtue of how it goes about conducting its business. But in the course of doing so, it achieves resonance and harmony among all of its nodes, its voltage nodes, so that all of them are the same voltage at the same time at each nodal point in the circuit. And that's when you maximize your efficiency. Now, you don't have to. You know, I've done plenty of circuits that are less than maximum efficiency, and microcap doesn't just encourage under-efficiency, they require it. You cannot go to 100% efficiency, or else you get the error message matrix is singular. So that's really what they're doing, is they have built into their system inefficiency. And they don't just reward you for non-efficiency, they require it. They demand it of you if you want to use their software. Now, how do they make up the difference for this dishonesty in their software? Because they proclaim themselves to be a standard in the industry, or at least other people do. What do? Status. They raise the price. When I first downloaded Microcap a couple of years ago, it was going for $2,500 to fully register their product. Now it's going for $4,500 and up. So I find it very peculiar that it's very common, though, in society of today, that a lack of honesty is compensated for or with by using prestige. And, oh, we have a reputation to uphold. Yeah, you better, because you're lying through your teeth. Yeah, I think it's called the mob. The mob mentality of stealing is so characteristic of today's world, and lying, misrepresentation, that you could almost say that organized crime doesn't need the mob anymore, because the majority population have taken on that characteristic all by themselves. It has gone not merely commercial, it has gone populist. That's why it's gone commercial. That's why Las Vegas is no longer run by the mob anymore. It's run by corporations. Why? Because the collective consciousness of the planet supports that. Because the collective consciousness of the planet has become that. I took an Uber drive one time, and the driver got into an argument with me. He kept saying, "But it's okay to lie a little. You have to lie a little." And I'm saying, no. Lying is wrong in any amount. You decide when and where you want to do it, but it's wrong any time you do it. There is no right lie. It's all wrong. You can keep your mouth shut, and you won't lie. I didn't say that. I should have. It's better to keep your mouth shut than lie. And then let people think what they want to. Somebody would have gotten into an argument with me had I responded, but I didn't. I kept my mouth shut, and I felt miserable for days afterwards. He was claiming my ID was not an ID. Yet it is an ID. And on that basis, he didn't want to sell me a car. Well, he was just looking for excuses, his way to wiggle out of the situation. But he had a lie to do it. And that hurt. That really stung. Oh, that hurt really, really bad. So what I do, I went home and I got a different ID. Nobody can use that excuse anymore. You know, not everybody's like that. That was pretty severe. And you know, the cars he was selling, the car he had selected to sell me was pretty shitty. And I kept brushing it aside like, oh, I'm willing to put up with it. But I kept complaining about it. It's like, wow, this engine is noisy. How can you sell such a thing? You know, I'm thinking to myself, you know, what kind of bastards would sell such a car with a noisy engine? I mean, the response was great. You know, the brakes, the acceleration, but the engine? Oh my God. Some people like that, and I hate people who drive down the street in front of my apartment and rev up their engine just as they pass. You know, they got to announce to the world what kind of car they've got, a noisy car. And so this guy was trying to sell me one of those cars, and all I could do was keep complaining. And you know, all I could think of was the aura in that place was something other than what it appeared to be. You know, the surface value of everything there looked clean, you know, and well kept. But when I thought about it afterwards, their aura is smoky. You know Pigpen in the Peanuts cartoon strip? He's always walking around with a cloud of dust around him because he's always filthy. He never cleans himself. Well, that's what an aura is surrounding an evil person. Not evil, let's just say somebody who thinks in a very dark way. It's not darkness so much as filthiness. There's a lack of hygiene, and we all know cleanliness is next to godliness. Well, for a very good reason. When the aura becomes congested with muck, that's what happens. It looks smoky, like there's a cloud of smoke around the person. I took a dance class many years ago, And there was this one girl who had a smoky cloud around her aura, and she was depressed as hell. She was so depressed all the time. She was creating that aura by creating that depression. I don't know, maybe she was looking for pity, you know. I didn't show her any. I thought it was pretty ugly of her to create a smoky cloud around herself like that. And worst of all, the look and the ambiance, the attitude that she was taking. You know, dance class, you know, you're supposed to be lively. This is not the play. You're hoping somebody's going to do it for you, and not me. Don't look at me. I'm not going to do it for you. So, anyway, so that's what I learned. Microcap error message. Matrix is singular means they're trying to prevent overunity. They're trying to prevent, because that's what 100% efficiency is. It's overunity. Every time. Every time. Because the circuit is harmoniously working in conjunction with all of its parts working with each other. Instead of working against each other, they're working with each other. And you would see, now this undermines the prevalent notion in physics that the whole universe is winding itself down, and it's all due to entropy and the conservation of energy law, when in fact, that's dead systems that do that. When you look at living systems, organisms, sure, old age sets in and they die, but you know what? They do whatever they can to struggle to survive, and what they do, especially when in their youth, is the opposite of entropy. The only reason why they age and die is because they stop being the negative, the opposite of entropy. They stop being negentropy, and they start becoming more and more entropic. But in the beginning, they're not like that. Hey, if we remained as vibrant and healthy as we were up to the age of 10 years, we'd live forever. We'd die whenever we chose to, literally. And we wouldn't get old, and we'd never grow up, and we'd never grow old. We'd stay young at the age of 10 or less. That is the ideal age, not 18, 10. Because the nervous system finishes its development by the age of 10. That is the ideal age to maintain oneself throughout one's life and bypass the hormones of adolescence. Who wants that? I don't like it. Some people live by it, but those are the ones who drive the noisy engine cars and right by your window to announce to yourself, "Hello, we're here." Yeah, well, what are you going to do for me as they drive quickly by? Obviously nothing, but make a racket, announcing themselves. So, entropy is not the natural state of affairs. This is a lie. The opposite of entropy is the natural state of affairs, and that's when we have 100% efficiency, when there is absolutely no internal resistance bogging down the organic creature system or an electronic circuit. No internal resistance, no lack of resonance. And when you get that, you get overunity, because you are literally master of your domain. Anything less than that, and you're a slave to circumstance, to happenstance, to the whim of the moment, to the whim of other people. And maybe people like to play that game of dominating other people. And so in order to do that, the one who is being dominated has to remain less than 100% efficient. Because if they were 100% efficient, they'd realize, screw you, I'm out of here. I'm not playing your games anymore up to who's on top of the heap, and I'm not going to be your heap or a member of your heap. So you see why I complain like I do? Because the things I realize are not nice truths. You know, in the Vedas they say speak sweet truth or don't speak at all, and it bothers me that we walk around not oblivious, but we make believe we're oblivious in order not to rock the boat. True, many are. We're all oblivious on at least one subject. Ignorant, naive. But on some things we're not, yet we keep our mouth shut. Why? What are we afraid of? We've already lost it. If we're afraid of losing something, there's nothing to be afraid of. We lost it already. And the only way to get it back is to stop encouraging it by not doing something about it, and complaining is the first step. So it may not be very Vedic, but it is how you get things done, is you complain, or you do something about it, which is complaint in action. You either prevent it from affecting you, or you fix it. You take aggressive action, but you do something. Hey, gotta laugh. Okay, now I can shut up.